Welcome back to Hero on the Couch. Tonight, we host the embodiment of commitment, trauma, and, arguably, obsession. He is Gotham's most persistent protector and its most expensive liability. Please welcome Mr. Bruce Wayne. Doctor, thank you for the unique invitation. I trust this room is secure and that we are discussing Mr. Wayne, not other pursuits. We're discussing the man behind the myths, Mr. Wayne. And for a man who owns several multinational security firms, your level of baseline paranoia is clinically fascinating. Let's start with the central issue. The night your parents were killed. That singular event defined you. Was Batman born that night? Or was it Bruce Wayne who truly died on that street, replaced by a fabricated persona? That night, a promise was made. A necessary vow to ensure no other child in this city would experience that kind of senseless, brutal loss. Batman is the active response to a reality Bruce Wayne couldn't tolerate. Wayne is the mask, the social lubrication necessary for funding. The costume is the truth of the man. Wayne is the mask, a classic psychological defense mechanism. You believe the true self is the one consumed by vengeance, or, as you call it, justice. Let's analyze that vengeance. You vowed to fight crime, but are you truly fighting the systemic causes of crime? Or are you perpetually recreating the scene of your trauma? Every punch is an attempt to rewrite that moment on Crime Alley. I am stopping immediate threats. I am saving lives in the moment. That is the mission. That is the only thing that justifies the sacrifice. To suggest it's merely therapy is an insult to the people I save nightly. It is a necessary brutality to enforce order where the system has failed. Justifies or necessitates? When you brutally dismantle a small-time criminal, do you see the actual perpetrator, or do you briefly see Joe Chill? We are discussing the ethics of vigilantism. Is your work a civic duty, or is it merely an elaborate, highly expensive nightly attempt to process unresolved grief that you refuse to feel? You deny your humanity to become a symbol. Grief is a luxury. Gotham doesn't afford luxuries. If I stop to mourn, to feel, to process, Gotham collapses into the very chaos I swore to prevent. The city requires a constant, active presence, an unwavering deterrent. I cannot be both a man and the deterrent. And what about your tool of choice, fear? You chose the symbol of the bat because it terrified you as a child. You weaponized your own deepest fear and projected it onto the city's criminals. Is this strategy a genius tactic, or is it simply a symptom of your post-traumatic stress, a deep, persistent need to control your original terror by externalizing it? Fear is the most potent weapon. It is fast, and it works. Criminals are superstitious, cowardly lot. They must be made to understand that the night belongs to justice, not to them. It is a calculated use of psychology. But does that control extend to your relationship with your most famous adversary, the Joker? You consistently refuse to kill him. We both know you have ample opportunity. Why? Is it because you know, subconsciously, that the Joker, in all his chaos, provides a necessary foil, a perpetual challenge that gives your life and your identity meaning? The Joker is a moral boundary. If I kill, I become a murderer. I break the one inviolable rule that separates me from the criminal element. I cross that line, and there is no coming back. I will not descend into the abyss of his madness. I understand the rule, but I question the motive. If the Joker is permanently removed, your trauma finds no worthy adversary. The grand narrative of your life ends. You would be forced to retire the cowl, go home to the mansion, and face the emptiness of being just Bruce Wayne, a trauma victim with no outlet. Isn't the Joker the parasitic one? Or is the trauma loop the parasite, and you are the willing, necessary host who needs the conflict to define yourself? Your analysis is reductive, Doctor. The conflict is inevitable. My presence is an attempt to manage that inevitability. He exists whether I am there or not. I simply choose to fight him.
Let's shift focus to Bruce Wayne. When you are forced to socialize, when you're donating to a hospital, managing your company, or enduring a gala, who is performing? Is it a completely fabricated, superficial persona? Or is there any genuine, integrated part of the boy who grew up in that mansion left? Can you separate the roles?
Bruce Wayne is the public utility. He's the necessary distraction, the flamboyant fool that media focuses on. The superficiality is intentional. It keeps the world focused on the frivolous so they don't look too closely at the darkness below. It is a necessary sacrifice of privacy. I am always assessing, always planning, even in a tuxedo.
A sacrifice that sounds utterly exhausting. You've created a persona whose primary function is superficiality precisely to distract from the profound emotional burden you carry. Have you ever considered that the Bruce Wayne facade has caused you to develop genuine symptoms of identity diffusion, the inability to form a clear, integrated sense of self? When the cowl is off and the lights are out, who is left?
The person left is the guardian of Gotham. Identity is a luxury I cannot afford. Loneliness is the price of necessary work. Emotional attachments are liabilities that criminals exploit. My mission requires isolation.
Speaking of attachments and liabilities, let's talk about Robin. You deliberately took orphan children, often with parallel trauma, and brought them into your war, exposing them to lethal danger. Why? Is this an attempt to mentor? Or is it an attempt to replicate your own trauma, but this time you're the powerful figure who can control the outcome? Are you trying to save a version of yourself?
That is a gross mischaracterization. I give those children tools, training, and purpose. I give them the means to fight back against the chaos that took their families, instead of letting them become victims. I give them control.
You give them a costume and a target. You are effectively recruiting children into a highly emotionally devastating, high-risk vigilante cult, all driven by a single decades-old moment of grief. You've created a lineage of traumatized sidekicks. That's not mentorship, Mr. Wayne. That's a highly sophisticated form of trauma transmission.
They choose to fight. They are stronger than you give them credit. They see the need.
They see the need because you showed them the path, Mr. Wayne. Let's return to the source, Alfred Pennyworth. He raised you, he cleans your wounds, he's your sole confidant. He is your parental figure. When you return, bruised and broken, is he patching up Batman, the hero, or is he desperately, decades later, attempting to patch up the scared, orphaned boy who saw his parents die?
Alfred is my rock. He is the only constant in the chaos. His loyalty is absolute. He knows what is required.
A loyalty that arguably enables the chaos. Has he ever urged you to stop, to get genuine institutional help? Or is he also trapped in the vow, believing that by supporting Batman, by being his emotional and logistical anchor, He is finally fulfilling his perceived duty to the murdered Waynes. And do you ever feel guilty about his sacrifice?
That is a question for him. My commitment is to Gotham. I am not the patient here, doctor. I am the firewall.
Your commitment is to the vow. Let's define success. If, miraculously, you clean up Gotham, if crime drops to zero, what does Bruce Wayne do next? If your life's purpose is fulfilled, does your trauma finally fade? Or does the identity of Batman simply collapse, leaving a deeply broken, directionless man behind, defined only by the absence of his enemy?
Gotham will never be clean. That is an idealistic fiction that only soft people believe. The fight is perpetual, and I am necessary. End of discussion.
I think that answer, Mr. Wayne, speaks volumes about the nature of your necessity. Thank you for your time. The case of Batman demonstrates the extreme side of identity diffusion, tied to profound, unprocessed PTSD. The mission is a sophisticated coping mechanism, one that ironically prevents the very closure he needs. He created a public persona, Bruce Wayne, to deflect attention, and a vigilante persona, Batman, to deflect his grief. He believes he is self-sacrificing, but he is fundamentally self-preserving by refusing to let his trauma die. The lesson here for us all is that a vow made in childhood grief can easily become a life sentence of necessary, perpetual suffering. Join us next time on Hero on the Couch.